Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Laura Rose and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 fantasy series. This was a suggestion from one of you. I think your name is pronounced Cameron. Sorry if I messed up your name, but thanks for that idea. This list does not include any standalone books. It probably would look a little bit different if I had some standalones in there.
So without further ado, here are my top 10 fantasy series.
I'm actually going to start with my two runner-ups because I wanted to give them a little shout out. That would be the Redwall books by Brian Jacques, which I loved when I was growing up, and The Time Quintet by Madeleine L'Engle, which starts with A Wrinkle in Time. My mom actually read those out loud to us when we were kids, and I remember them being amazing. Number 10. Please don't stop watching this video after I tell you this, but yes, the Twilight series by Stephenie Meyer is my number 10 favorite fantasy series. I know that these books get a lot of flack and a lot of shit, but I love them. I've read them many, many times. I've watched the movies, and I enjoyed the story. I liked the vampires, I liked the werewolves. I'm actually kind of annoyed that there's so much shame in me for loving these books. They're on my top 10. They'll probably stay there. Number 9 is going to be His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. This is the first one, The Golden Compass. I actually just reread this, I want to say within the year, and of course it was amazing. When I was younger and I finished this series, I remember being so emotional, and I talked to my mom about it, and I was just like, oh, all the feels. Coming in at number 8 is one that I started this channel with, and that is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I'm including just the first 3 books that are the series about Vin. Brandon has started writing another section in this series, but I haven't read those yet. Mistborn, as you know, I really liked the first one. The second one was okay, and the third one blew my mind. I loved it so much. But Mistborn got knocked out by number 7, which is The Song of the Lioness series by Tamora Pierce. I have not read this since I was a teenager, but it was one of the first fantasy series that I got into as a young girl, and I loved it. It is about Alana, and it's the story of a girl who wants to fight in the army, and she has to disguise the fact that she's a girl. I think number 7 is a good spot for this series. I haven't read it in a really long time, but it had a huge impact on me growing up, and it definitely deserves to be on my top 10 fantasy series list. Number 6 is going to be the Abhorsen series by Garth Nix. I'm doing a buddy read along with these books right now. I actually just finished Sabriel, so you should go pick it up if you haven't. And next week I'm going to be doing a review and discussion on this. I didn't realize how dark these were. They're so cool. She's a necromancer. It's all like demons and undead things coming back, but not in like a zombie way. You know, because I'm kind of over zombies right now. The characters are really well written, and the magic system is also super cool. Coming in at number 5 is the Magician series by Lev Grossman. I have mentioned this a couple times on my channel. It is a series about a young man who goes to magic school. It's like Harry Potter, kind of, except for way darker. I like it because it's one of those series that has magic interacting with the real world, so we can pretend that someday we'll get called to magic school. Coming in at number 4 is the Dragon Jousters series by Mercedes Lackey. This book is about a young peasant boy training dragons, and I friggin' love dragons so much. I ripped through this series so quickly. I'd totally read it again because, hello, dragons, they're so awesome. Number 3, A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. This series is awesome. You've probably heard of it. This comes in at number 3 for me because while I really love the characters, it isn't finished yet, and there's a possibility that the TV show is going to spoil the books for the readers, which really is upsetting. Coming in at number 2 is The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. So far, he's only written 2 books, The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, but those 2 books were fantastic. I loved them. I love the world that he builds up. I love the characters, and it's got a lot of those epic moments where you're like, stand up and cheer, yeah! The only reason this series is not number 1 for me is because it's not finished. There's a very high possibility that the Stormlight Archives will knock out my number 1 pick once it's done. And that is saying something, because you guys all know that my number 1 favorite fantasy series is Harry motherfucking Potter. This series is so good, and the reason that it beats out everything else on this list is because I literally grew up with Harry, as did most people in my generation. You know why this is number 1. But Harry, better watch out, because Brandon Sanderson and his Stormlight Archives are coming for you. Alright, so that is my top 10 fantasy series books. Let me know if there's any series on here that you love that I haven't mentioned. Most likely it's because I haven't read them yet. And I'll add it to my list and then maybe do this list again in a couple years and see how it's changed. Let me know if you disagree with some of these. Number 10. I know. Make sure you comment and subscribe and give me any suggestions for more videos that you guys want to see because I love doing them. Make sure you read some fantasy today and also have a glittery day.